There's ladies and there's gentlemen. Gentlemen, this is for you. No, don't leave, ladies, because trust, you'll want to hear this. But I have a feeling the male audience is going to appreciate this one. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Ian, and today we're going to be talking about something that I've been not preparing, but thinking about for a while. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the long-awaited rant of Tokyo Ghoul. Now, I've got a lot of things to say about this anime, but first, I want to say some things. Immediate first things first, I haven't read the manga yet. I probably will do that eventually, but I'm just not that ballin' right now. Now, apparently the manga is a lot better than the anime, and I do love the anime, but listen, there's a lot of things I can say about it, and this is basically just purely based on the anime. And secondly, I by no means am an expert. I might make a part 2 on this, because trust, I have a lot of things that I could see in the future that could change my mind. But I've only seen about like 7 episodes in season 2, and I finished season 1. But first, before the downhill, we gotta talk about how good season 1 was. But basically, if you're unaware, we're set in Japan, and we're split by humans and ghouls, split into 2 factions basically. We got the humans on one side, and the ghouls on the other, and there's some in-between mixing, but for the most part, they hate each other. Humans are humans, they're the same, but what you gotta know about ghouls is that basically they have this thing called a kagune, which is like a superpower of theirs. They can like shoot tentacles out their back. It's not always tentacles in some cases, like sometimes it's wings, but for the most part, it's tentacles. And they have like extra arms, and they can like basically overwhelm any human. They're super powerful, and they have to feed off of human flesh to survive. But that's basically all you gotta know about ghouls. Most importantly, that they have to feed off human flesh. They can't survive on anything else. They hate regular human food. They can't digest it. The only thing they can digest is coffee, but that doesn't really like quench their thirst, if you know what I mean. The story starts off with Ken Kaneki, who is basically a college student, and he likes this girl named Rize, who, you know, visits his local coffee shop that he likes to go to. He ends up going on a date with Rize, and Ken Kaneki, who by the way is a human, ends up, you know, walking Rize home after their date in the nighttime, and Rize ends up turning to a ghoul. Well, not really turning into a ghoul, she was always a ghoul, but basically she reveals herself, because basically the difference between humans and ghouls is that ghouls can have like red and black eyes, but they can activate whenever they want. Their red and black eyes usually activate whenever they're using their powers or eating human flesh. Essentially, Rize ends up being a ghoul, and she starts to eat Kaneki, like she starts to kill him basically, and a crane from on top of them, like on top of a huge building, a crane breaks, drops all the cement bricks or whatever, they're like the pipes or whatever, and it falls on both of them, killing Rize. Kaneki ends up surviving, but in like super bad condition, and all of his organs are basically destroyed, and so the doctors find both of them in the wreckage, take Kaneki out, realize he's alive, and transfer Rize's organs into Kaneki so he can live. Well, surprise, surprise, they just combined human and ghoul without knowing it, and now Kaneki is half ghoul. So basically, he has to transfer from being just a human to having to survive on human flesh. And basically, the rest of the show is about how Kaneki now has to navigate both human life and ghoul life while being both and having to understand both sides, but both kind of, you know, low-key hate him. He's more on the ghoul side now, not because he can't eat regular food anymore, but because a coffee shop takes him in called Nteku, and they actually are run by ghouls. It's a coffee shop that's secretly run by ghouls, but like they accept both humans and ghouls to come and eat and, you know, drink coffee. They're protective of ghouls. It's like a hideout for them. They're not hostile towards humans. Now that you've got the gist of the story, let me just talk about season 1. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is a crazy show, and it's crazy good. It's kind of run on that AOT kind of style, where it's like the POV is Eren Yeager, he's the main character, but you know, you're basically focusing on all the characters at once and how they interact with Eren. You know what I mean? It's like AOT, where Eren is your main character, and you see his POV a lot of the time, but a lot of what the story is, especially later in the seasons, is how other characters develop and how they interact with Eren. And like the POV starts to shift away from him. You don't really see him as much anymore in the newer seasons. You know what I mean. They do the same thing with Chainsaw Man, especially in the manga, and I think this style is incredibly good. Tokyo Ghoul totally nails it. I really like how they savored Kaneki's power. Like they really held him back in the first season to make you feel it when he explodes into full rage. Like, let's be honest, in season 1, by full definition, Kaneki is just a loser. He's timid, weak, scrawny, you know, he doesn't like using his power, he's too scared to eat humans, and he holds back a lot of the time. Dude, he reads books. Who reads books? And a lot of the time, despite being incredibly powerful, Kaneki is like gets beat up a lot because he's just a wimp. And this sounds really bad and like sadistic, but I just love how they torture, like it sounds sadistic. They torture Kaneki into basically destroying all of his friends, all of his family, taking everything away from him, so he will finally release human man-made morals and like become what he's born to be, a ghoul and a human. Because the entire show, basically, Kaneki's holding himself back because he doesn't want to kill humans. He doesn't want to eat people to survive. But he has to realize that it's the way of life. It's how he has to live. It's almost like he releases his human morals and combines it with ghoul morals. By the end of the season, he accepts it. He accepts killing people because it's what he's meant to do. He's a ghoul now. He's not human anymore. He realizes almost that there's like nothing wrong with it and there's nothing bad about killing people to survive because it's, you know, the animalistic way of living. It's like, it's a human-made emotion that it's bad to kill people. Obviously, if you're a human, you think it's bad to kill other people. In ghoul society, though, it's perfectly acceptable to just do that, just randomly, just go out in the street, kill a person, eat them, live for a month. Because also, by the way, the ghouls only have to kill like about one person a month to live. I just think it's beautifully written. You know, he has to break through his barriers and basically accept that he's now a ghoul. But then again, he's still a part of human society because he's half person, and he spent like what, the first 18, 19 years of his life, I don't know how old he is, spending his life in college, in school, interacting with other people, and you can't just like leave that behind all of a sudden to be a ghoul. I just love that transformation, especially in the last episode when he gets a pep talk from Rize. Like, he has to accept it's hunt or be hunted. And the fight scenes are great and all, you know, it's Tokyo Ghoul, obviously. The gore and, you know, everything about it is amazing, especially down to the combat. But I think where this anime really shines is definitely the slice of life aspect. They show the humans living regular lives, the CCG, which is, you know, like the ghoul hunting organization, basically, doing their jobs normally. They show people like ghouls in the show learning how to integrate into society. They show the main characters like going to school, or I don't know, working in the cafe. It's that kind of stuff that like makes you care about it a lot more. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of good things I could say about this anime. There's plenty more things I could say about this anime because I love it. But there's some cool stuff we gotta talk about. The reasons someone may not like Tokyo Ghoul, especially season 2. I've got a lot of nitpicks about this show, and this is me being strict, alright? You know, you don't have to make an insanely good anime for me. It's not too hard to please me, but there's a lot of things I could say. There is very few shows, animes, episodes, movies, whatever you want to talk about, where I have to look up a character list. The way Tokyo Ghoul introduces characters is very flawed in my opinion. Like, you don't really know them. You don't know their name. You don't know their personality. They're just kind of there, and all of a sudden they're part of the story. You get to, you know, progress their character arc over time, and each character is a little more in-depth as you go through the season, but introducing them specifically is just like, who is this guy? What? He's random. I don't know his name. You know, like, they say it one time in dialogue. They don't introduce the characters well. For example, Ryoko and Hinami, a mother and a daughter who flee away from their husband because he's in ghoul, like ghoul gangster affiliated or whatever, and they have to keep safe. They love their husband. They just have to keep safe while he gets out of the gangster business. And the reason this one works so well is because these characters are great. Like, Ryoko and Hinami are very well designed characters, good personalities, good character arcs, everything, but the way they're introduced just sucks. Randomly, one episode in the rain, Ryoko and Hinami show up in Atteku because apparently they know all the staff already knows them, we know nothing about them, barely even their names, and now they're just in the story. We couldn't care about them less. They don't explain who they are or anything like that. And those were two characters where I had to go online and search up Tokyo Ghoul characters and go to a list of all of them so I can memorize their names. And all of a sudden, now they live at Anteku. We know nothing about them. They're just kind of there now. And you know, you get to learn about them over time. It's that kind of thing where you're just like shoving characters into my face that I gotta remember now, and I gotta track the story arc and, you know, develop them in my mind instead of you just telling me who they are and what they do and, you know, all that stuff. I can name a gazillion characters in Tokyo Ghoul like this. Juzo, Shinohara, Itari, Seito, Ryoko and Hinami, Kurona and Nashiro, Tatara, and the list just goes on and will keep going on as I keep watching the seasons. And that leads me to season 2. Now, I don't have a lot of gripes for season 1, but season 2 is where it really comes in. Now, I heard about this before I even started watching Tokyo Ghoul, that after season 1 it kind of gets a little bad. And I don't think it's as good as season 1. I definitely don't think it's as good as season 1, but I don't think it's a bad show. I just think it has a lot of mental digestion that you gotta go through. I like season 2, but the thing with season 2, especially at episode 7 where I am at now, you're halfway through the show and you don't even know what's going on. After a few episodes of season 2, I actually had to go to Google Gemini and basically say, hey, here's where I'm at in the season. I don't want spoilers. Here's what episode I'm at. I want you to like explain some things to me because it just didn't make sense. And I'm sure later in the season it'll all tie together, but there's a lot of hanging questions in the air that you just don't know. And you have these questions for episodes and episodes. Why does Kaneki even join Agiri in the first place? Who are the main characters he joins up with in Agiri? Like, all I know is Ayato. I just know that because Kaneki interacts with Ayato and, you know, they actually talk. I haven't seen anything else. At the end of the first episode of season 2, Kaneki walks away with his new Agiri tree group. Here's the problem, I don't even remember who these characters are. And the thing is, Kaneki knows them and we don't. There's Tatara, Eto, the random guy in the mask who seems to not die, whose name I don't even remember. Who are any of these people? They've appeared in the season. In season 2, we've seen them multiple times. Who are they? Tatara literally got his own fight scene. We haven't heard a word from the guy. We haven't seen the two, Kaneki, Tatara, interact at all. We know nothing about him. Why does he get his own fight scene? I don't care about this guy. Eto was literally like teased at the end of like episode 2 or whatever. I'm on episode 7. Haven't seen her since. Maybe like I've seen her a couple times. She doesn't do anything. I don't know who she is. I don't does she know Kaneki? Does she not go with Kaneki? Is she like part of the Aogiri group? Why do I never see her? Like, what? How is she important? Why does she keep showing up but I don't know anything about this character? For example, why does Kaneki break that one prisoner out of the jail? Like, there's no reason. Why does the owl save them? No reason. Why is Kaneki committing cannibalism? I don't know. My brain is hurting just thinking and talking about this show. I think it's good. I think hopefully the plot will definitely resolve and a lot of questions will be answered, but it's just hard mentally watching a show and having to keep track of all of it at once. All the questions you have to keep in your head. Excuse me. There's so much to think about, so much to keep track of, and when I'm watching a show, I don't necessarily want that. I want, to turn my brain to low power mode and just let the whole thing tell the story for me. And that is my two big complaints about Tokyo Ghoul, at least so far, especially season 2, because the storytelling is just complex. I think if it does end up folding out and answering a lot of things and, really connecting everything together, I think it would be magnificent. I think it would be incredible. And the second watch would be like 10 times better than the first. But just like, I don't know, in the state I'm in right now, watching just up to episode 7 of season 2, it's like everything is just kind of falling apart for me. There's too much. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts on Tokyo Ghoul. I've been wanting to make this for a while, and I kind of wanted to save it because it was almost like an emergency video. This was like, if I don't have a lot of time to make a video, I'll make this one because I can just kind of talk about it. And, I'm kind of doing that tonight because it's my first day of school, and I kind of timed it badly. I was playing Minecraft earlier. But, that's it. If you got any entertainment or any joy out of this video, I'm so glad because I did my job, ladies and gentlemen. And it's been amazing seeing you all once again. Aisle 12, Discord link in the description if you want to talk to me, talk to anybody, and we can play games together, whatever. Like I might be live on YouTube. I don't know. But stay tuned for more videos. And thank you for all the support lately, guys. Thank you so much. All right. I'll catch you guys later. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll get like a full article video, something fun. But I'll see you guys soon. All right. Bye. See ya.